By the way, I know that there is a VR section that they talk about. So if you're looking and only wanting to hear me and my thoughts about the VR portion, skip to the time below listed right here. If not, enjoy your snacks and enjoy the video. Oh, dude! Okay, well, that's fun. Howdy, everybody. What's up? What's up, Sweaty? How you guys doing?
Hello there.
Is the music playing right now? We've been having some issues with that, but yeah, welcome you guys. Doing great. How are you? We're very good, man. Dude, thank you so much for the raid. We are actually just about to, we got our popcorn. We got Bennoit Beausejour on the phone, and we're just going to watch this tech talk here. You guys ready? I'm assuming most of you guys have seen it. Yeah, this is the long one, you guys. So, I know that there is a VR portion of the tech talk. So if you want to see that, and we are on YouTube and you're watching, go to the time listed down below here. I'll also have like a timestamp that you can click to. But if you want to watch my reaction to the whole thing, well, welcome. I'm Chachi Sanchez, the VR citizen. We have Sweaty, I always mess that up. We got Sweaty rating from his Twitch channel, so shout out to him. And we got Bennoit Beausejour ready to roll. So let's go.
Yeah.
My blood sugar is weird or something. I can't see with my glasses. I'm seeing better without my glasses, so we're going to take off my glasses. Although I'm going to have to do the show like this. Now I can't see everything else, but I can see this. This is important. All right, so on these shows, on these special Tech Talk shows, I think, we are going to cover a variety of topics. So these topics are all
keep you up on line. Dude, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for lurking.
Bennoit, as involved as he is with so many aspects of the game, still needs to be afforded the opportunity to check in with other directors and get updates on what they're doing and everything, so that we can provide you
stay safe and fly right out there, man.
Information. So this will be a show that's less about taking questions from the chat or from the community, and more about just a very candid conversation.
Hello there.
About the current state of the game, the development, where we've been, where we are, where we're going, that stuff like that. So I've divided the show up at this point into sort of three things. I'd switch teams for Bennoit. Oh, that wasn't in chat. I was just talking myself.
No, he's just...
No, that wasn't chat.
We're already having fun.
Send a DM after the show. That's not appropriate. So we're going to start the show with updates.
So does HR need to get involved now?
This is the third one of these we've done. We've talked about a couple of things. So I'm going to update on a few of these topics that we've been covering through this before we get into some new things.
Dude, tech officer, tech officer,
the biggest one.
Tech officer.
Server meshing.
Yeah.
Remember that line from Star Wars?
We talked about
Dude, thank you so much,
ad
Tech Officer, for the
nauseam
Twitch
leading up to
Prime.
this thing.
Hell yeah.
It's now been out a year. This is probably the last time we're going to talk about it for a while again, until Dynamic comes, and we're not going to put any dates on that. So let's put the story of server meshing. Let's put a button on the story of server meshing.
Sure.
And I'll break it down into 4 sections. How's it gone? How's this last year been?
Well, so like if I recap, like almost same date last year.
Almost, yeah.
Was when we actually launched 4.0, and server meshing actually went to the live environment. And so, yeah, it's kind of the 1-year anniversary of the tech.
Yeah, it kind of is, isn't it?
All players.
Time flies.
It's been surprisingly solid. I like to say that this way because it's a very large system, but it has been it has given us just good foundation for what we had to do last year in terms of the content drive that we've pushed forward, the performance improvements that we wanted to deploy. It was like we were expecting a lot more turbulence with the release of server meshing than we've had in a year. It's
Hello
been
there.
a very, very stable system overall. And so I would say, like, if I look back at the year, obviously there's always problems, with new technologies, but the server meshing itself has been very, very, very solid for us.
Okay. So
it seems to have performed well. Like, it's unlike, let's say, hangers, which have just been a plague and a problem since they were introduced. They really, really nailed it down to the floor and got a solid foundation for the launch of server meshing, which is good because they fucking needed it. That's a really, really important one to not fuck up, unlike
quite
the hangers.
frankly, years leading up to it, talking about it, it began to
Hanger
get
elevators.
this mythology that it was going to be this silver bullet, that it was going to be this one-stop fix that was going to fix so many issues. It didn't fix every issue in the world. It was never going to fix every issue. But I want to talk about what it has.
Yes. They need to restart the servers more often so they don't get slogged down. Weekly server maintenance. I'm saying it now. It needs to be. They want to be an MMO. Do MMO things.
Enabled for us in this last year.
Yeah.
So what are some of the benefits that we can draw a direct line from server meshing that we've experienced in the last year?
Well, like if you walk back to the
I got this popcorn as a bit, but goddamn, I'm inhaling it.
So before server meshing got introduced, you know,
Really buttery.
a server crashing, that was
Transport,
the end
yep.
of the session, right?
I
would
need to
lose your
rework.
ship, you would lose your cargo, everything would disappear. You'd have to reconnect, restart the client, start over, right? I mean, anybody who's lived through the first years of development of the project know how intense this was, right? And so the first thing that server meshing brought us is server recovery. And so because of the fact that the replication is separated from the simulation, when a game server crashes, which is where most of the crash risk exists, well, the state of the replication is still good. So we just tell you, hey, we're getting another server, you stay there, and when it comes back, we can recover exactly where you were. You don't lose your ship, you don't lose your cargo, you don't lose your materials. And I think that's been a very, very big, it's a kind of the unsung hero feature of server meshing.
It is quite
it helps
nice.
with, you know, engagement, playing longer sessions, finishing missions. And so for me, that's like one of the big pluses that was brought in with server meshing.
The fact that they could pull all of that
top of
successfully
we
from the
did have some
replication
crash
layer is pretty
isolation,
crazy.
To be clear, in 324 and before, right? But what server meshing really brings also on top of that is crash isolation. So if a server is in charge of the Crusader area and he's the one running into issues, then only that area is affected. And so the player who's, you know, bounty hunting in Pyro or something like that, he's completely safe.
I didn't even think about that.
And that just the
Because they're
perceived
separated
stability
systems.
increased a lot based on that. On top of all the work we've done to prevent servers from crashing in the first place. But just this whole setup.
It's like
has
on the
made
edge of my
game a lot
seat.
more
Yeah,
stable
Benoit. Yeah.
So that's just the kind of meat and potatoes of what meshing has brought us. But the key bit it brought us also is much larger player counts. And so we used to be limited to 100 players per server, which had the whole universe to simulate. Now we've got a series of servers simulating the universe. And so we oscillate between caps of 600, 700, 800. We're still experimenting going higher with this, depending on multiple factors. That cap changes for the moment. But just the fact of having more players in the same shard means you can have an event where 200 people show up at one area. Surprisingly enough, we've also discovered things through this, that sometimes game servers actually perform better with more players in one area than one server simulating the whole universe would, because he has less entities streamed in, and now it's all about updating the components.
Interesting.
So we've seen certain events, you know, because players always find a way to, you know, organize something that should be a
Game Rally.
There was a 400 player party in one of the bars on New Babbage, and we looked at the server performance through that, and it was actually very, very decent. And so we expected a full meltdown, but it was
no joke,
good.
right?
And so that enabled that experience, right? Obviously, there's a million other problems to solve for this to be a really good experience, but from a server meshing point of view, that was a big win.
You've got a 500 player meetup coming. I just saw something.
I know, it's like that becomes a kind of common thing, and we love it because that's exactly what the tech is meant to enable. And then obviously the two other things that meshing has brought us this year is 2 new solar systems.
Yep.
And so for years we'd been stuck in Stanton, expanding the Stanton system, more POIs, more planets,
He's
more
right.
things. And now suddenly
Within 1 year, we
branching
got
to Pyro,
2
which was
systems.
everybody at CIG was really looking forward to that. It was internal tension at when are we going to launch this thing? I've been working on this for a long time. And so that was really a relief to be able to get, players to cross the jump gate. So the jump gate technology obviously comes with meshing. And so expanding into 2 systems in 1 year.
Being able to add Pyro in January. The tech preview was December the year before, but it went live in January, and then Nix goes live in November, same year. It's this.
So yeah, that means they had that internal roadmap of Nix.
Question. We've been doing this for a long time now. Here, forget other places. We've been doing it just here for a long time. And one of the most common, persistent questions is about the pace of development, and people have been waiting very long for certain things, justifiably so. And we've always maintained that its development kind of works on it builds. It builds and it builds, and you get more efficient after you build the tools, after you build the foundations, stuff like this. It gets more efficient. You can do more later on. This year, because of server meshing, we were able to kick out 2-star systems, and we're still expanding on Nix. Every patch this year will expand Nix even more. It's the one in March.
We got a jump gate to Levski is what we got.
Looking to expand a bunch of the service stations and our first big content drop, which I'll go ahead and
someone say that's all there is in Nix, and they are right.
Watched what was it called? Citizencon Direct.
Yeah.
Me and names. You can learn more about that, but we're currently working towards that as our March release, and then on, just continuing to build out Nix until I think in the Road to 1.0 presentation that was on 2 years ago now, a year and a half ago, Rich Tywer acknowledged that Castra would be our next system whenever that comes online. So it's just this technology.
What does that mean? It's unlocked the capabilities to do what
we can actually start to deliver so many of these things that we've been talking about and working on behind the scenes. Instancing has some role in that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Give us the goods on instancing.
There's one more thing that server meshing brought us that's not negligible, is a very substantial gain of performance on the game servers in general. So like 324 game servers were running, we had a very low bar for acceptance on FPS for game servers because we just had to deal with so much. Nowadays, like server FPS is magnitudes higher. So that actually allowed some of the content we've already produced actually shine because it was working properly. And so that's because servers have less to simulate. We can optimize their workload. We've also reduced we've talked about this before, but we've reduced the size of the game servers because they just have to simulate one area. And so overall, meshing has improved server performance by big magnitudes.
Yeah. In some places, they're like, it's a death trap to go and do a bunker.
My head is not smaller. My hair is just bigger. It was very windy and rainy today, and it's just whatever. No, I haven't had a dye job. It's grayer than it's ever been. No, we are not taking questions from chat, but I will comment on every one of you commenting on my appearance. So that's static server meshing. We know the next big stage of server meshing is dynamic. What can you tell us, if anything, about that?
Well, so the dynamism in the mesh,
Dynamism?
right? Dynamism, I guess.
Yeah.
So we're running out of words internally to define what the next step of server meshing is. Currently, we're working on quasi-dynamic server meshing, which is we're trying to iterate on the static mesh, right?
Next, will it have Demi?
Bring it so that if an area is empty, right, and nobody's there, we can spin down a server. And if people go to that area, we can spin up a server.
Nice.
To achieve all this, all of the mechanics required for a full dynamic mesh need to be there. So like mass authority transfer between servers, because when a server goes out,
it has to transfer
X amount of entities that it currently has authority over.
To give all those
it needs to
entities
give that to another one, and that obviously you don't want that process to lock up the parent server. So that whole mechanism is what we're working on at the moment. In fact, we've done over the break, the team has actually reached a milestone. We were able to run with our internal testers a test of quasi-dynamic server meshing internally. So that's good. I mean, it's the first test, so it's a bit rough, but it basically requested, I think, 200 servers to run the mesh. That was a little bit of a bug. But yeah, our ops teams, Ahmed specifically, I got a call from Ahmed immediately. But anyway.
So wait. You've been calling it quasi dynamic, and I've been trying to workshop a new name for you, and I've just got just a little bit of dynamism. But so you did your first test of this quasi dynamic, like, hey server, you try to determine how much you need, and the first thing it did was ask for 200 more servers.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
yeah,
you know,
a little bug in the assignment.
That's funny.
System, but
that sounds like human nature.
correct.
So just you determine.
So that's what we're working on right
All right, server. You get to pick how much you need. Oh, I get to choose? Oh, fuck yeah. I'll take as much. Yeah, 200. Yeah, 200. That'll be good. I think I'll be happy. Finally, Jesus. Now I get to actually run. Quasi-dynamic is akin to the quasi-grazers. Oh, that's funny.
now. That's the next step towards the full dynamic mesh, right? Obviously, the goal with the dynamic mesh, just to recap it, is that instead of having a subdivision that we pre-make in advance, like currently, every patch we look at the territory assignment, is what we call it, of like what's coming. Like, oh, we have an event at this place, and most players are going to go to this system, and so we adjust the mesh, right? And sometimes we get it wrong, and it's a very manually intensive process, and we don't want to keep doing that. So the goal with the dynamic mesh is to be able to just adapt to where the players are, the cost of the location they're in, to be able to provision compute dynamically up and down. So there's also the unfortunate cost equation in this, right? The current static mesh will always provision a server for every territory that's configured, and so there's a little bit of savings we can go and get there. But more importantly, the dynamic aspect of it is to be able to always make sure that the proper compute is available for players when they're in an area doing something, right? So that's the goal.
Chat's debating whether the servers have actually achieved AGI and have played the game. And they're just like, we've played the game. Give me 200.
Yeah, that's what I was. I finally get to choose.
Meshing.
Yeah, 200.
Last year, last year was coined as the year of playability. Mm-hmm. So, we've just backdoored a whole bunch of playability improvements that server meshing, which dropped last year, enabled. So we've had all of those improvements last year that made the game far more playable than it was in any previous year. But that phrase has been used, it's weaponized, it's thrown back every once in a while, every time somebody encounters any kind of bug whatsoever. So I want to talk, and that's not entirely unfairly, because everybody's bug that they're encountering is the most important bug in the universe at that given moment, and that one is not resolved because they're encountering it. I want to talk a little bit more about what we did gain last year. So it's whether that's the transit system stuff, the 30Ks finally being killed, the creatures and boss fights and stuff. When you tell me, how did our year of playability go in your head?
Well, so I think that, obviously coming from the server meshing improvements, there was also some failings at the beginning of the year where we saw, transit became a very big problem. That's an example of a
Only
system.
because we tried to use it.
Yeah, well, yeah, or tried to serve you, but badly. But that's an example of a system that was built years ago that wasn't properly scaled over time. And so when you added dynamic gateways for the transit system plus the meshing situation, that became a really problematic system. And
I haven't seen it yet, but I hear there's a lot.
First order of business once we launched 4.0 was like, we need to really take action on transit. And so we talked about this last year, but we did create the Transit Heroes group, which was a coalition of volunteers. Well, they got volunteered. Voluntold, yes, exactly. To come and give a bit of oversight on this, to look at the system to see, what do we need to actually, have stable elevators and trains and, make sure that that's always available. Because the traversal of the game, if that doesn't work, then the game doesn't work at all, right? If you can't take an elevator to get out of the habs, then
You've got 20.
good luck, right? So the Transit Heroes team, I think, has done a fantastic job. They haven't re-engineered the system in that strike team, but they really focused on self-healing strategies, right? If a manager loses a carriage for some reason, for any reason, well, just create another one and get this thing rolling, right? Now, they couldn't fix, in this effort, they couldn't rebuild the system. There was fundamental flaws in how it was engineered for server meshing support. And so, but at least they got it into
Did you
working
say phenomenal
condition. So
or
I do think, like,
fundamental?
if you look at the game now, transit is no longer the big problem it used to be, right? Like, it actually functions when you need it. Now, that said,
most times.
it fixes itself, right? So it's still getting in a weird state, but it fixes itself. So, we've done more about this, and we'll talk about it later.
And we're building the transport system
Correct.
concurrently.
Yeah, absolutely.
So while this team is repairing the transit system, we're building a new bespoke transport system.
Right. So transport is basically the fix for this, like the real fix.
Let's get to transport when we talk about.
I was supposed to say, we get a Band-Aid before we get the actual new system? All right, fine.
Well, I got a list here that I worked out a little bit with Jens just to gather up because the game is so big. So
I'm gonna limit you a little bit on this time. You've got.
okay,
I'm gonna give you 5 minutes.
sounds good.
I'm gonna give you 5 minutes.
I'm being time boxed.
because we do want to get to the new exciting hotness. And
I'll go
stuff. This
fast.
is important.
Okay, so we talked about 30K
hold on,
protection.
my clock app.
Okay,
Here we
yeah.
go.
Hang on. You got to waste time for this.
Go.
You should be a producer. Okay, 30K protection, transit improvements, right, to make it stable. A stable tech base for the content teams. What doesn't show is that to achieve the content we shipped in 25, we actually froze a lot of the technology to give the content teams a stable base to work on. Before, it was a bit more of a mayhem. So we did that. As we built all of this content last year, so a monthly patch was a very heavy cadence.
10 patches last year.
Yeah. I think that what's really cool is that we've built kind of a library of locations and events that if you start playing Star Citizen today, there's that to do, right? It's like that. We never had that before, like a real set of locations that have like a full-on, storyline to follow. So
I would love to say that if you are getting into Star Citizen now, Hathor, Stormbreaker, ASD, all sorts of just, the regular stuff that you could do just going and looking around, and all these new things, quite a lot to do. So I wish the fucking mission refactor hits, but apparently we're going to get some words about that soon. So
that's really cool. In these locations, we're able to ship some new creatures, so a lot of new creatures and boss fights. So we had the first couple boss fights this year.
Siege,
with Yormandi, Stormbreaker. So that's like a brand new
Instant
design
Siege of
discipline for
Orson.
us to design boss fights for multiplayer elements. So that's new. Spawn and Hangar is something that we've actually been able to enable this time. So we tried to enable that in end of 24, and that was a bit of a disaster. 25 now, Spawn and Hangar is there. So if your hangar is available, you spawn directly there. That's actually a very large quality of life improvement. I play the game a lot. It's, not having to go to the hubs is fantastic. We've been able to put weather in key locations, including some of those big hero locations we talked about. We're hoping to do more, but for now it actually is there. 2 new star systems, we talk about this. Jump gates, which is a whole, a game on its own. The way it functions is actually super interesting. As you're going through, the zone is moving and you're moving within the zone. It's really a fun system to go through. So that's in. We fixed the goddamn bounty beacons, which is one of the coolest loop in the game. I love it. And, that was obviously not working. So now we've actually got them to work again, which is a big win. Quantum interdiction was in the same bag.
Well, the hubs are still there. You just don't go to there on your home city.
Interdiction was kind of difficult, so restoring it was an interesting one. We had to actually build systems to allow that because not every server has a view of the entire shard anymore, and so in order to interdict cross-server, you needed to have a special tech to do that. That fixed also quantum linking. Now, routing is still... there's still issues, right? It's getting there, but at least there's been some quality of life improvements on that side that we've done this year. Freight elevator, ongoing.
We'll have a whole section on freight elevator.
But there's been a lot of, throughout the year, freight elevators have received tons of
compared to where they started.
They are better,
when we
but
attempted
Jesus,
Yes.
this
to
system.
when we pushed them to the forefront for an event, and yeah, compared to where we started. But, but let's.
We talked about server FPS and stability from the meshing and the cleanup that we've put in place. Also, we've pushed at the middle of the year. It came for you guys at the end of the year, but actually we merged it at the middle of the year. But a whole new tech base, including at least a year of graphics update, including Vulkan, coming into the game now. That was what will allow us this year to do some
VR.
pretty large changes as well. The first weaponized mech, so the Atlas ICT came in, so that's also a really big.
Without
boost.
Vulcan, there's no VR.
We still don't know
It's
if it's a
crazy
vehicle.
how
Jim
much
Crew and I have
performance overhead it gave.
This ongoing feud. He says it's not. I say it is.
You're dipping into content here. I'm not going to let you count the. I'm not going to
okay.
let you count the ICT. That's content.
Ah, that's fine.
I'm not going to.
Yeah. Well,
Although
this exists.
the jump jets were a feature, I suppose.
There you go.
The jump jets were
There
a
you go.
feature. So I'll give you half credit for the ICT.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will take that. Comms notification got a big facelift. That's something that we want to use a lot more of, and so we needed the
We
proper
get social
tech
tools
to be
for
able to
fuck's
render that
sake.
properly, and not just the quip lines, which you need more immersion than that. So that was actually a pretty big thing with facial animations and tracking, and so that's in there. And then cross shard progress for events. So what powered a lot of the content this year was a new service in the background of the game called the scenario service, which whether you're doing clean air or the resource drive last year, the cross shard progress of these events is tracked by the scenario system, and so that's how we were able to show tables about how many resource drives and resource drives, stuff like that. Exactly.
Yeah. That's a pretty good list. You just got it says 502.
Yes.
Look at that. Look at that.
On time.
And you didn't even mention like item recovery.
No, I did not.
Didn't mention item recovery. And there was one other that I had until I got distracted by my own clock.
It's all a blur.
I got distracted by my own clock. Basically, it's
VR. I'll say it for him.
It
was
hard.
VR.
Let me think about how I want to say this. If you've been watching this show long enough, you know that I'm not above taking a section, in this case 5 minutes of the section, to basically go through some talking points that I want, that I think are important, that I think people want to hear. We have had things like the year of playability thrown back at us in comms, and when you see, I tune into a Twitch stream or YouTube thing, and and somebody gets a very frustrating experience. I was looking at an experience of somebody, just going to town with their whole C, and they went through a jump point, and it took them trying to go to one system. It kicked them back out to the next system, and the thing crashed. And then they got back in, and the spindles they tried to open the spindles, but the spindles were closed, or looked closed, but they were actually open. So they were in the wrong state. Tried to get refueled, tried to go to refuel. The refuel thing wasn't working, and then stowed the ship and spawned the ship, and it didn't come back on the docking port. It came back in their hangar full of cargo, and it's like this. It's like,
Yep.
we acknowledge that. I'm sitting here saying we acknowledge those things. But there was so many massive improvements last year. You used an analogy last time we did with this about I think it was the big freight container, the big giant Suez Canal shipping things that you don't just turn the direction around, you don't just spin the wheel and suddenly you're facing a new direction. It takes time to move these things. And the efforts of your teams and the people under you, these strike teams, these hero teams as you call them, to turn this ship that we call the Persistent Universe around in the last year has been phenomenal. If I'm allowed to have a personal opinion, being the shill for the company that I am, has been phenomenal. We haven't gotten everything. Everything. We still got another year. The work continues.
Yeah.
But it's my show, and I wanted to take 5 minutes to acknowledge the tremendous work of those teams. And a whole lot was accomplished last year, in addition to the amazing content work. I said 10 patches, and I realized we actually had 11 because we kicked engineering out.
Yeah.
We kicked engineering out in December, so it was actually 11 patches.
True. It's
You know,
true.
11 patches in 12 months is pretty crazy. So you allow me to have a moment
The VR
to have,
patch
to have some
as well.
time to sit there and sing the praises of those people, because I've seen where we were, and I know where we are. and we're in
Invictus.
a much
I should
better
have
place
access
now.
to the Ironclad
Still.
because I got a Kraken.
Still.
it's
Should have
the
access to
beginning of
both.
the
Still
term.
places to go.
Yes.
That scenario I just described was like last week, and we got still places to go.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean we don't acknowledge
Well, I
the
think
progress we've made.
I think it's a testament to kind of the systematic approach we've taken to solve some of these issues instead of previously we used to just assign tickets to people and they would find the fastest way to solve it, and now we're kind of work as a team with the teams in quality assurance that are basically the arbinger. Like, no, it's not fixed. I can still repro, right? And these guys have been going through a systematic approach for it. I think that's paid off a bit.
We get better.
Yeah.
Not always, but we try. And in this case, we've definitely gotten better. There were some big changes to internal infrastructure and stuff in the last year or two, and we're seeing the results of that stuff. All right. So now let's go into some specific updates here. So let's talk about the transport system. We don't need to talk about transit so much anymore. The transport system is what will one day replace this thing. I've heard talk about there being a tech preview of it soon. Talk to me about the transport system.
Well, so
Tell us about the rabbits,
transit
George.
was problematic, wasn't designed for server meshing. And so transport is a complete rebuild of the transit system, but using more server meshing native approaches for how different pieces are going to manage elements that are streamed out and streamed in. We're also moving away from some previous misconceptions that were put into the transit system. For example, one of them was responsible for trains going into space. We don't want trains to go into space. So
You might not.
yeah, well, I mean, unless we do a
That was
space
really
elevator.
fun.
Astro Train.
Yeah, Astro Train would be great. So
Not gonna
the
lie, it is a
state of
great
transport,
bug.
right? So,
Annoying, but
at
hilarious.
the end of last year,
So I'm going to pause. What's included in transport? So what are we talking about?
So
Elevators?
transit and transport manage elevators, in-ship elevators, trains, anything that has to move when you press a button and you call it. So it's a network of carriage, peripheral, and gateway.
Okay.
Right. So
Ooh,
you take an
I
elevator
like those
to go to your
words.
hangar. That's transit.
You take a tram.
You take a tram. That's
Anything that's automated. Anything that
Correct.
moves you
Exactly.
not under your
Magic
control.
carpet or otherwise.
And he's the one moving the carriages, right? So he needs to deal with carriages being streamed out, like prediction for that stuff. So, so transport is a rebuild of the original transit, which has been, as we talked about, problematic. So the state on transport is at this point we are, it's functional. So we've the team at the end of last year actually completed the first transport link, which was we tested this internally with our QA teams extensively at this point. All of the new Babbage HABs links. So we took one link in the universe, that one, and we tested the crap out of it. Right now, that's a static link. So it's going this. When I say static, it means the 2 points that the elevator goes to exist. They always exist. So we know that works. Then the state at the moment is we also support hangars. So these are dynamic gateways, because if you're online and you're at the location, your hangar is spawned there. That's a dynamic gateway. If you leave, that gateway
it is
disappears. So the
instanced.
system needs to deal with
True.
dynamic gateways. The previous system
Did not.
kinda did, and the kinda bit was the piece that wasn't great. And so we've got internally at the moment new Babbage. We've got hangars and HABs. So the state of transport now is the team is working at converting all of Area 18. So we're talking HABs, hangars, transit trains, all of Area 18 to the transport system. So
Okay, our corp is up
we're
first.
going to go to tech
All right.
preview with that. That's our plan. And the reason why we need to go to tech preview is because we need players. We've tested this internally. We can't muster as much players as we want, so we're going to try to see if you guys want to come and help us out test the new Babbage Transit for real on a tech preview to validate all the assumptions that are in this.
Wait, is it new Babbage
We're
or
gonna
our
launch
corp?
tech preview and ask people to just come and ride the elevators,
Correct.
come and ride the trams.
And their hangars.
in their hangars,
Yes.
and hope nobody dies.
No trains in space, no doors opening to nothingness. That'd be great. No passing through the floors in the carriages.
The single most exciting tech preview we'll ever do, but incredibly important because it's a tech preview that doesn't just affect.
But you said
Area 18,
ArcCorp
it's one
as
that
well.
can literally affect quality of life in every single landing zone on board every
I
single
don't know.
spaceship.
That has an
the
elevator.
ships that have
It's already too far to
elevators
go back.
and stuff within space stations. It's going to be this little thing for Area
What's up,
18,
Fancy?
but it ripples out to everything.
And so after a tech preview, if everything is validated, there's one thing too we want to try to avoid is the train prediction taking like you in 32 seconds to come in, where the train says train arrives in 1,060,000, which obviously we hope that.
I just thought it was a metaphor for the project. Am I allowed to say that?
At this point, you are. So
Yeah, pretty much.
On the after tech preview, we're gonna scale this out to every landing zone, and we're gonna see where.
Do
which
Babbage
patch
first,
this
then
will
area.
load in,
Okay,
but
so we
at
did
that
say
point,
it. Okay.
We hope to bring transport in and completely deprecate the transit system from the game and nuke it from orbit.
Cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
And that's next week.
An Aliens fan.
we don't give dates. Best effort, but it's looking good. Like this
Got a
tech preview
power
is gonna
loader up
be
there.
where we're going to evaluate really like where we're at with scale, because the issues of transit typically come up
Funko
with
Pop
scale
one.
most of the time. Right?
Fair enough. I told you we get back to freight elevators.
Yeah.
So what can you tell me about freight elevators and what still needs to happen?
Sure. So the freight elevators are way more complicated than we can imagine because they get affected by other systems like hangars, like planetary locations. There's also multiple flavors of them, top loading, side loading, and they all operate very differently. So this year, we've had issues at the beginning of the year clearly with the freight elevators, like losing items, obstruction, blocking them from functioning.
You said the beginning of the year, but that really came to a head in July.
Yeah.
mid-year.
Where we
Well,
had
it
even
had
an
been there the
event
whole
that we
time. It
rely
just
on.
the event exacerbated
retrospect.
it.
You know.
Well, we knew there was a collection of issues, but we also all of our data said they were only
Localized.
The localized list. It wasn't until we went to scale
That's right.
that we realized, oh, this is actually even worse than we thought.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's also coupled to a couple of things, and for that event specifically, which was, we concentrated missions in key locations. That's one thing that has been in our discussion
did do
all
that.
year was
They
how
did
we
do that.
distribute missions, right? How we, if we launch a new mission tomorrow morning and we send everybody to the same spot, that is problematic. Not just because it's not fun, because it's a traffic jam, but also it causes other issues. And so we learned a lot from that on the design side, I think, overall. But so freight elevators, though, so we're pretty happy.
Like, it's one thing in like World of Warcraft when everybody faces on top of each other and you can literally have 1,000 people stacked on top of the same NPC. That's not how Star Citizen works. Everything is physicalized. Everybody jams up the doorways and elevators and locations, and it just gets a mess. And they want thousands and thousands of people to play. I still think that until they let us phase through each other, it's not going to be a true MMO, because all it takes is like about 6 people to block the doors at New Babbage, and then nobody's fucking getting into that goddamn tram ever.
With some of the core mechanics, but there's still very egregious issues that we're tracking. So there's roughly 73 total issues that we know about.
Wide
51 of
halls,
those have
yeah.
been resolved. So I've asked
Arbitrarily wide doors.
one of our teams in our
No, we
Nathaniel
can't do
Fisher,
that because then we
resident
could fit the
expert
Nursa
on
rover
freight
into our
elevators,
ships.
to track that. So the rest of these issues are, some of them are really problematic. One of them we actually discussed, you and I, just before the show, was how if you're turning in Wicklow items, you need to put them one by one.
Things in a box. You have to be able to put things in a box.
Correct. And so
you have to be able to put things in a box and have it suck up
Yes.
that box.
yes, I agree, 100%. And so that's going to be one of the first ones I think we need to look at. The other one is a bit more problematic because we don't have a proper repro for, but sometimes there are lost items that fail if there's like a back-end slowdown when things get stowed. So we have a couple reports for this, not many, but the ones that we have are critical. And so, this is a kind of a rule we've set on the CGP team. So Jens and I are pushing this to everybody. It's like the golden rule for everything related to freight elevators or anything that touches inventory is a player should never lose an item interacting with these systems, right? We need trust in them 100%. And so
yeah, that's good.
why
That's a
we're
good
tracing
bar to
those
have.
issues. So there's still a lot more work required on freight elevators for different edge cases. A new one that we started seeing in 4.6, which seems affected
lose
by another
armistice or
change,
just knock
but
them
is
out. If they block the
sometimes,
doors.
putting stuff on the elevator, not on the grid, will cause it to disappear,
Right.
which is kind of a physics cleanup conflict. So I know we're looking into this right now because that's a big one. But and then everything that has to do with stacking. So having a stack in your inventory that you want to unstow onto the freight elevator, that mechanism from a backend perspective
Right.
is actually a creation. I know that sounds weird, but you have a stack of 10, that's one item with a stack of 10. You may bring it, it's a creation of 9. So that bit is not stable right now. We're trying to improve that that mechanism.
It's hard because there's a lot of the chat right now is debating Wicklow at the moment, and
Why did I say his name?
if I say it 3 times, he shows up on the screen. But a not insignificant part of the dislike for Wicklow is directly related to that freight elevator. It's just we have a section later on. We asked around. We'll get to it, but we'll give you a preview. But we started talking like what is the single greatest quality of life thing that we can do. And I went around and I asked a couple head honchos here around the company because I was curious. I did an interview before, like what to you is the single biggest?
About a dozen, Attack
quality of
Cat.
life thing
About a
you can do?
dozen.
The single biggest. And
If they're really committed to it, they can find a choke.
I'm going to spoil it here. Not losing items.
Yeah.
Just not losing items. Just that seemingly simple,
Yes.
benign,
Yeah.
innocent little thing. Like if
Did you ever lose an item in World of Warcraft? Did you ever accidentally just have a shit just randomly just not in your bag? No. The core part of MMOs is the gear, the items, and the things that you acquire on your journey. If some of your things just randomly started disappearing, that's not an MMO at that point. You've lost your identity as a character along the way. So we got sentimental about JPEG. with desync you might make it through.
everything else is important, everything else is super important, everything else is super necessary. It absolutely is. But God is my witness. If we can just make it so people don't lose their items, so
I agree.
Shout out to the heroes of the freight elevator hero squad. I thought it was Strike Squad, but you've rebranded it during this call as Hero Squad, and I like it.
Right.
So we'll do it, and everybody, the people in item recovery, the people in the new inventory, people who are working on the new inventory system right now. It's everybody working to fix that because that's just the single most demoralizing thing in the world to me. Speaking of item recovery,
Yeah.
we launched V0 or V1 or whatever the heck we called it, T0. I'm hearing that there's a T1 on the horizon.
Ooh.
Talk to me about it.
Well, so the
Tier 1
obviously
item
Tier
recovery.
0 was a fairly large change to the game, so that in the case where you die in the verse, instead of having to run a corpse run to recover your items, you would actually respawn with them. This was mainly done to, we're in an alpha game, we needed to do some compromises, so we looked at that. So item imprint.
Good compromise, so that people got their armor out and about.
Item recovery, Tier 1, entitlements 2.0. Those are all sort of related. So the gist of it is, and this ties into some other subjects, but is that currently when you play the game, right, and you look at your ASOP terminal, I think I've said that last time, but I'll still go through it again. When you look at your ASOP terminal, the list that you see there is the list of entitlements that you own, which ship that you own, you have a right to, right? Then that's cross-linked with the actual ship. Do you have it? This entitlement, let's say it's a Connie, what is it in the game, right? And where is it? And that's how the ASOP terminal shows you the list, right? So that's why you're able to have a row when there's no ship and it says retrieve or deliver, right? That creates the ship. Then deliver brings you the ship on the platform. Those entitlements currently, they don't live across patches. We recreate them. The first time you log in, there's a big process that reconciles your account, grabs your web purchases, grabs your LTP records, and recreates those entitlements. Obviously, long-term persistence has always been it's a difficult problem to solve. It sounds simple, but it is not, I assure you. But in order to facilitate all this and also other item recovery needs, we've decided to basically persist those entitlements across patch. So these things will never get wiped anymore. And so losing a ship is not going to be a thing. That's not going to be technically possible. We never really delete entitlements. And so you have insurance on those records, so you can claim insurance. The only way to lose a ship will be if you no longer have insurance on it. You still have the deed for it, but you can't claim it.
Interesting.
So item recovery is a rework of the entitlement system. It touches on how you claim insurance on ships. It allows snapshotting of ships, but also FPS items, so that these
so it works across both. So it's the same system across everything. Okay.
And recover, and then will give us the ability to recover or claim your even FPS items. So think of it as an insurance system for FPS items. Right? So this whole mechanic ties into LTP as well. We're also hoping through the system to solve some of the issues that exist with, taking components off of a ship, then claiming the ship, losing the components, and or in some cases being able to duplicate some default components. This whole loop is insurance has always been a problem design-wise for how this functions. So item imprint v1 allows you to imprint items, save that state, and then recover it on death or when you claim insurance.
All right, so I have a couple questions here based on what I heard. You keep mentioning insurance. Are you saying that insurance will be in alongside V1? Or yeah, exactly.
Correct. I say insurance because that's the same kind of loop in terms of what the services are doing to do this, but basically it's a snapshot we recover from.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
So when item recovery V1 comes out, it'll still be much like it is today as far as insurance. Everybody will just have everybody has LTI on everything at the moment right now until that very specific gameplay system is implemented. So this is not that.
So that's why it's tier 1, not tier 0.
Lowercase I, yes.
Or tier 2 or 3.
I just needed to, I'm like,
underscore I.
I didn't think ship insurance was coming in this one.
Yeah.
So just to clarify that.
Okay, so no insurance system.
Folks,
everything just blanket LTI as a band-aid for the band-aid.
You're saying that because it's a change to the entitlement system and everything would just get snapshot and moved over. When you say people will no longer lose ships, you're talking about that whenever a patch comes out.
Yeah, what about that?
They're talking about the ships that they've earned in game, the ships they've either bought with AUEC or stolen or whatnot. Those should persist.
If you have an entitlement for something, we no longer wipe that between patches at all. We keep it completely.
Okay.
So that should give us a lot more. In fact, it is exactly the way you would expect it to function right now, except the way the systems were built in the past didn't account for that. And so there was cases where you could lose something that you own because it was left unstowed in a shard or something like that. And so now with the entitlement system, we keep that cross-patch.
Nice.
So the first question I have in response to that is, how will people get rid of things? Because quite frankly, I might go joyriding one day, or I might buy a thing for AUEC and fly it, and then decide I don't want it, I don't like it, and now it's just sitting there staring at me in the ASOP. If these things don't go away between patches now, every time I want to try a ship, or I just move away for a ship, or John Crew nerfs the hell out of the ship and I don't want to fly it anymore.
Goddamn John Crew.
I might want to get rid of it. So will there be? Is there going to be a mechanism for getting rid of these things?
Well, not with item imprint, right? As part of this, no. But there are. I don't want to go too much into details into this, but I can give an example of you have a ship filled with cargo that you stow into your location inventory in New Babbage, and you claim that ship, right? In the current way the system works, that cargo's lost, right? That ship will get deleted and you're done, right? You get a new one, but it's the same entitlement, right? With the new system, we have the ability to also show you ships that you own that had an entitlement on it. And so what that means is you could claim that ship. You'll get a new, let's say it's a Caterpillar filled with cargo. And you're like, I need to claim it for some reason. You can claim the ship. The other ship will be bricked, right? That's how the design is functioning. So it's no longer usable, but you can still retrieve it. You can still retrieve the bricked ship and get it. And then if you destroy the ship or tow it out, then it'll go away from your entitlement.
But we
there's gonna
can't
be
tow
more
anything
system, of
bigger
course,
than.
to remove that.
You can't warp in
from your
quantum with
terminal,
tow.
longer term, but not in this phase, but longer term, yes.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the long-term players, the people who have been here for a while, who have acquired a rather massive fleet already, and
I'm a victim of this.
You know, and you start buying ships, and I'm guilty, but there's just sometimes I don't want this anymore. I don't want to look at a I don't know.
That Toy Story dream.
DS.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
Just wanted
Drops
out of
Woody
my
to the floor.
I bought it mistakenly from Astro Armada. I just had a momentary weakness. I don't want that Rock DS staring at me in my
Rock DS,
because you've done a wonderful thing with item recovery. You know,
But now you keep it.
And
Now
they're
you're stuck with
persistent.
it.
Yeah, some things.
Are you saying
aren't
you
meant
don't
to
want
be-
your ships anymore?
I'm just saying some things aren't meant to be persistent. So I just want to take this opportunity to
Rock
to
DC,
urge-
DS
there should be-
hate,
there should be
please,
some
more of
way
it.
to remove, to get
I'm
rid
very
of it.
curious about why you singled out the Rock DS out of this.
How much time you got?
How much?
Jared hates the Rock DS confirmed. Oh, you haven't been
It
watching
needs
for a while.
did not
You're just getting that
exist.
confirmed
There's
now.
no reason for it. What can you do to make the Rock DS actually worth it? Besides
Jared, you're not supposed to be
arbitrarily
going
make a
on
gameplay
shows telling
function
people
that's
you hate
worse,
certain ships.
just so it
So
fits
you're
its
supposed to be
niche.
championing everything. I'm like,
Yeah.
I hate the Rock DS.
No, we aren't.
It's just.
It's comfy though. It's got to get
Hold on.
sense.
Let's just do everything the first Rock does, but require two people. I've never lied to you. I never will.
Sure.
It's the only. It's
It's
the only
bad.
promise I've
Everybody
ever
knows
made.
that the Rock DS is bad.
You've been mentioning long-term
Atlas
persistence. so let's
GODS
just
just
wrap
has a
up
dude
this.
on his shoulders.
The
arc.
storyline of losing stuff,
fucking
keeping
tractor
stuff.
beams. The guy on the
last
bottom
time-
jumps.
Last time we had this
The
conversation,
guy on the top uses the
you talked about
arms.
utilizing this entitlement
Mecha
system.
Shiva.
So is that what we were just talking about, or is there more stuff?
There's more. So there's a lot of work ongoing on this, on the long-term persistent side. So just for those who don't know what long-term persistent is, or LTP, there's a mechanism we put in place to allow you to keep things between patches, right? So every patch we basically destroy, like when you come into 4 to 7, when it comes out, that's a brand new database, right? The whole thing is fresh, and then we recreate things. Now, why do we recreate things? It's because these things are still changing. So the Hornet you had in 4.5 is probably different than the Hornet you have in 4.6. Item port locations have changed, materials have changed.
Hornet
serialized
changes. He said
variables
Hornet
and all the
changes.
data that goes with it has
You heard
changed.
him.
The gold standard Aurora that we just launched is technically an entirely different ship. The whole entity is different.
Exactly.
And what under the hood to the backer, it looks like okay, you just added some
thing.
you added some fins and blah blah blah. But under the hood, it's an entirely new set of entities.
And so, in order to allow us to keep stuff, we've built this system on the
So
side.
yeah, they do.
that kind of keeps-
It can't be the exact thing every time they store. It has to be a token for it, and then it slips whatever the current version of that token is. Because it's very easy to store, exact things, supposedly. But yeah, bringing up the exact thing from a couple patches ago won't help them. They need the current version of it.
records of what you own. So it says you own a Hornet, right? That system has always been kind of a, I don't want to say a crutch because it did function for a long time, but we've outgrown it quite a bit. There are also many cases where we would remove records of things that you own because they're in play in a shard. And that's been proven to be a bit of a bad decision overall. And so that's why we've had multiple issues over the years of like players losing ship entitlements in the new patch, or having more items than they were supposed to get. Like, some people have shown some screenshots of demultiplication of things between patches, and so it's been a big issue, right? So with the item imprint work, we're tying into that. We're reducing the footprint of what LTP manages by a lot, because it will no longer store your entitlements. We just keep those as is. So that's one big bit removed from that system. The other complexity on that side is that it needs to manage nested inventories. And
back to the freight elevator thing,
that's just completely crazy. So like, I have a handgun stored in the glove box of my Merlin that's attached to my Connie, that's parked somehow inside of my, Idris, and stowed in my location inventory. Well, I need to give you a record for that gun, right? And so that system
Interesting.
needs
You
to
don't think
reread
about
data
all of
and
this.
store it, and it's really complicated.
Which is why people have gotten into the habit before a wipe, or before, not wipe, but before a patch.
Yeah.
Freudian slip, huh? I could just,
Everybody's like,
know you
wipe.
but before a patch, people stow things
Yeah.
in certain inventories to have their best chances.
Yeah, to kind of set it up, right? So, unlike
Still didn't help. I
systems,
lost my
ultimately,
F8 from the
we
contestant
don't want
zone.
this system, right? Ultimately, we want to get to a point where we don't need it. So, step one is to reduce its footprint. So that's part of item imprint is that. So that's a big deal. But the next steps are start from the very low level, and will require some large company change. We need to be able to migrate your old Hornet into the new one, right? Or at least be able to know it changed enough, I need to give you a new one, right? Or being able to just migrate the shape of the hierarchy, the item port locations, and the serialized variable formats on these things. Now, the thing you got to think about the way the ships are built, right? The entities have components on them which enable them to do something. I'll give an example just for the layman. You have a health component on an entity that says, hey, I got 100 hit points. When that reaches 0, then we destroy the entity, or something else happened, it destroys
Or blow up the
itself.
entire ship.
That component is written in code. There's a game programmer that's maintaining this. We actually have a health component. It does way more things than this, but just to keep it simple. So a game programmer is programming this, and he needs to persist the value of health, so that when this ship is now either put in an inventory, then brought back into the game, that the values of the health components on the individual parts have persisted, and we reload it, right? This is true for everything in the game, right? We have serialized variables and components across the game. There's, I think your character at the moment has like 800 serialized variables on it or something like that.
Jesus.
Right? So those are all different components. Are you crouched? Are you standing? Are you, health of all the limbs?
The status
stuff
state
like
of
that,
every
right?
single
So
thing.
the programmers between patches, they just change that. I removed this one, and I put a new one in, and then because some of those variables, it doesn't matter if it changes.
Yeah.
Some of them matter, right? If you change that, like it's a different shape, it loads a different CGA model, whatever, right? So that's the big problem about how we need to forward migrate, is we need to do this at the very low level. So currently, our network team and our online teams are working at this mechanism to be able to differentiate the important from the important SVs, the serialized variables, on components. So that's all across all components in the game. There's over 1,500, 2,000 components, individual code components in the game. So, for example, I don't need to know if you're crouched when I stow you in your inventory, right? I don't need to know that, right? But I need to know that when we're running and you're crouched, right? So we differentiate the two, and then we have a mechanism to migrate the data format from one to the other. When we get that functionality in and reliable, what that means is that we will just keep the database. And that is huge, because now that means there's no longer a process between patches that transfers stuff or moves it around or recomputes things. It's the same database. We're just moving its version forward on demand. Now we've looked at multiple different options for that. Some of them were like, just migrate people from one to the other, but then we'd have to keep 5 databases behind. It's just impossible. And so Right now, we're working at that option, and that's the longer term vision that we have for that. So first, reduce the footprint of the LTP system so it just manages some things, not all, and then work on the real fundamental issue, which is we need forward migration on all this data.
How many times in your life has a errant, random, unexpected serialized variable been the cause of distress in your life?
I mean, it's crazy. This is the single most important thing because, like, in case you guys don't know, every time we do either, well, full patch is easy because we patch server, client, hybrid, everything goes in one at once. But when we perform hotfixes, and God knows we've done a lot of hotfixing this year, right? That's part of our process now. But there's like specific steps where we have our live QA team need to do compatibility checks, and any change to any serialized variable, added, removed, change the format, change the data, whatever, incompatible client. And so getting our processes in place to catch those before they get introduced, right, is really taxing because, you know, there's always oh yeah, also fix this bug, and that make the whole hotfix incompatible and we can't launch it. So we have to backtrack, change our approach, whatever. And so that's the kind of thing we're dealing with.
This is why I don't do development or coding. It's so dumb.
And before somebody says you should have just made a simpler game, Benoit.
Props to those that do.
Just making a simpler game.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, I want to move into our quality of life section here.
Yeah.
We talked about it a little bit before because we just talked a whole lot about not losing things and all the efforts being made to not losing things. But there are other major quality of life things. For me, personally, after the not losing the things, it's social.
Yeah.
It's social.
Please.
The ability to group with people, the ability to communicate with people, the ability
to shut people up.
Not to communicate with people, the ability to just be like, oh, hey, that's a bad person. That's a bad person with bad thoughts and bad intentions, and boop, boop, and kick them into the pit from 300.
Sure.
And whatnot. Never to see or hear from that person again.
Right.
The all the tools for joining up. Finally, people have been creating and managing orgs on our website since 2013.
Yeah.
That's so
and
garbage.
This is 2026, and those orgs still not in game.
Correct.
What
are we doing?
Colors.
It's
party colors.
We're reenacting a little play because Bennoit and I have had this conversation almost verbatim for a little time. I'm just doing the conversation we had in private for you guys right now. So my question, Bennoit, friend, person whom chat has dubbed brother, my brother,
from another mother.
When, Bennoit? When, please, dear God in heaven
4.8
above or down below, who do I have to talk to?
4.7?
Give me something.
Good.
For social.
Yeah. Well, so what is it now? It's all a blur. A social universe, right? The last panel that we did at Citizencon. That outlines the vision of what we want to do with social.
What have we done?
The year that we just had, we had to take a little bit of a detour on that initial plan. But right now, we have completely formed the social strike team. And so a bit like the heroes team, right? The social strike team, its only mission is to execute this plan, right? And so
so don't bury the lead. There is now an official dedicated team on this.
Social strike team, yes.
Okay.
Exactly. And so this
no redeems are on.
Is currently looking at all of the components that make up the social systems now, right? Fortunately for us, the work didn't stop on this side, even though we couldn't enact the changes in the game. On the back end side of things, there's been a lot of progress on social. And so even though the systems look primitive in game, their capabilities have grown quite a bit, even in 25. We
just
do
not using them yet.
So we do have a block list that we leverage now. It's simplistic, but because we didn't have the UI resources to do it completely. But moving into this strike team, right, covers all areas of social. So the plan is to go into 4 different pillars for it. So the first order of business is the Comlink app. So the Comlink app is like one of the oldest mobi-glass application we still have. It's kind of an eyesore because it's like from a dark, ghost of futures past. It's like from 2000. I want to say
it's literally a relic from the dark age of technology type of Warhammer 40K reference. That's how old it is. It was made out of needs and necessities for systems that no longer exist.
In 1918 at this point, style-wise. Very old technology, still use the legacy even UI framework that we had in the game. So we're completely eliminating that tab.
Yay.
We're bringing in forward the social application that we've shown at Citizencon, so that design is moving forward. So replacing that.
You said application, and he's removing the tab, which means it'll be a separate thing. I'm assuming in the main menu, hit enter to, make the chat window visible and do it through there. So if that's the case, how do I, as a VR player, interact with it properly, easily, quickly?
Chat widgets.
That's my question.
Right, so the entire chat experience in the game, we're completely overhauling this from the top at the moment. So we're right in the process of changing that and hooking it up to the new systems. Revamping things like, social notifications. Currently in our mobi-glass, we only have one kind of level of notification, which is like ultra important. So to have a proper social experience, you need to have these like, system updates, system notifications, like someone joins, someone leaves, whatever. Looking at things like combat log and all the stuff that we've looked at in the
He says combat log. So we're gonna get a combat log.
We're actively building this now, and that's going to be the first. We don't know. I'm not going to say which patch is going to land in. So our schedule is twofold. There's a content patch schedule and there's a feature schedule. The features need to have leeway because it depends on where they're going to land. But that's going to be the first update to social will be Comlink app, right? So rich party information, friend foe tracking, chat app. So we're working on this right now, actively.
For a 2026 release?
Yes. Yes. I mean, it's like you mentioned, it's kind of urgent at this point that we do something there.
Yes. For fuck's
This
sake.
will automatically roll into the next. No, keep your dad here. Come on. On the next milestone for the social strike team is going to be looking at the party finder mechanic, right? Which basically allows you to advertise your party and then get people to join in. Like, let's say you're looking for a gunner and some FPS guys for your mission, then you can advertise that. If you're looking for, friends to go do a specific event, you can do that as well. And so Party Finder, we're hoping, is going to be a way for you to find friends on a given shard really rapidly. Also, tie that in with your friendship and your contacts. So that will be kind of, we're building on the first release, which will have now friend and foe tracking into that. So that's going to be super interesting.
What was everybody complains about World of Warcraft getting ruined by the auto group finder type thing. So incoming videos about that. Ready, go.
That's the second system we want to bring in. And then obviously number 3 of 4, right, is the org system. And so in that space, we're taking the orgs on the website from 2013 and we're moving them completely. Obviously, the technology we used to build that in 2013 are obsolete. They're, it's a really old system. So we're bringing all of this data back into a game service to manage orgs, to surface that, obviously, game side. So now have org management screens, have your organization chat in the game, and then actually be able to create your organization from the game as well as surface it outside. So that's like, okay, now orgs are in the game. That's the first.
That's the whole name, and then the org.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and
this we have
probably,
actually.
we're still having internal discussions about how that surfaces. In our game, nothing is always set in stones. But
I forgot about it being the name tag on the player.
FPS scanning radar.
In game.
Additions to when you fly your ship to identify others with scanning, and so
you got like the ship name, you got the player name, org name. Shit, man.
the orgs will be part of that. That's it. Visibility in game, chat in game for your orgs, actually having your organization communications.
Yeah, that's a whole nother series of conversations. Weighing immersion versus running around and seeing it burn.
No, it's an MMO. It's a fucking MMO. Make it an MMO.
Sure.
So
Let me solo her.
just fun fact, I got to write the original guidance at Blizzard for that. We're back in 2004 for World of Warcraft. Yeah, I got to make the original list of. These are examples of really bad guild names to train game masters way back when.
Cool.
Chat, you've been saying it. It's next on the list.
Yeah.
VoIP.
Yeah.
VoIP. If you're doing all this stuff, VoIP.
We're looking at VoIP.
Such an important element.
Sure.
It
It's all part
works
of
until it doesn't.
Graham tells me it's entirely your fault.
Graham is. I don't want to say it.
Graham did not say that. He heavily implied it, though.
No.
Graham is more savvy than I am. He knew not to say it outright.
Yeah. That's right. We love him. But
He wrote it down on a
but
piece
he's
of
wrong.
paper.
No, but okay. So VoIP, we're doing improvements.
You wouldn't
there
say it out
on the
loud.
backend side of things. So VoIP is mainly, right now heavily affected by the shard size. So the
Is
original design for this was really made for the 100 servers, and so we haven't had a chance to go back
What's up,
there
Vicious?
at all. As part of this work, this team is also going to look at the infrastructure for voice transmission, and we're going to try to make it scale to the proper thing. So one element that we're talking about on chat and comms is that we're probably going to be moving away from the server chat. So what the original global 600 player chat, and move into regional chats like a true MMO, so that it's tied to the region that you are.
Yay.
Maybe multiple channels for that, and so VoIP will also be affected by that because it also powers proximity chat, and so proximity voice. Sorry. So we're looking at voice transmission from the top to bottom. We're changing the whole backend for this to make it scale there.
What do you have against Baron's chat?
He literally, I was just about to say, Baron's chat from World of War. I know we're bringing up a lot of WoW analogies here, but well, if we're trying to be an MMO in space, we got to look at the best MMO of all time. Okay, maybe not the best, but one of the most popular. Yeah, fucking Baron's chat.
Baron's chat was. I mean, apparently.
For those that don't know, if you played World of Warcraft and you played Alliance, every single zone you leveled in was about 5 levels, maybe 7 levels of content. And you had just, a small group of people that you would, occasionally, interact with as you go from area to area through your journey, leveling up in the game. If you played on the Horde side, you were in the Barrens. And the Barrens, you didn't get out of the Barrens area of the game until level 30 plus. So every single person from level 5 all the way to level 30 was talking in one area in the game, running up and down that fucking bitch.
Hello there.
So 14 levels of raw shit. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to WoW MMO stars. Well, guess who wants money? CIG. Guess who wants them to make their game? Me. Guess who knows they have to make concessions on realism and immersion so that people, actual people, not just Star Citizen fans, get to play this game, buy this game, spend money on this game. They can make this game for us. They're not making it for us. They're making it for people. We are not people, you guys. You have to realize that.
Baron's chat was so dope, we implemented it here and have had it for the last 10 years.
That's right. Correct. We're also out of this, there's also some movement on player reporting for bad behavior. So not just blocking, which is, is something that we have now, but that we want to expand on, but also player reporting for other players that are, either bad behavior, profanity in chat, things like that. Obviously, we don't at CIG don't have a large, moderation team in game, so we're going to need some automated help there that will come and clean up some of these elements. So we're trying to, really tackle communications, from the top there with that strike team.
So there's social. There's not ever losing an item. Shout out to gameplay engineering director Jens. That was his major one, and then
that was his coin.
that was his one. Didn't feel strongly enough to come on the show though.
It's not automated if they're making the actual users
Next
do
time we
it.
do a duo. Let's sign him up right now.
So not losing things.
Yeah.
Social tools. We'll throw VoIP in with social tools. essentially.
Chat,
Transport.
Party Finder, orgs is what we're going in order.
As far as major quality of life, I want to ask you personally. I'm allowed to say things personally sometimes. I do it often on my live shows, and then get in trouble for it afterwards. Bennoit, I want your personal thing. What is your big bugaboo? What is your big quality of life bugaboo? The thing that
Personal.
yeah.
I've got 2. I've added 1.
Scope crate.
Yeah. Okay, so I would say for
Like
me,
scopes?
in terms of quality of life,
Like, I can't wait to be able to zoom and have scopes back in VR. Oh, this is going to be great.
I love to play the game in a kind of a larger setup. So I have a kind of a flight seat that I like to operate to play the game. And this thing has roughly 13 devices connected to the game.
Yep.
Managing bindings is literally the
Oh,
worst.
I'm rising up. I got a bit of a chub now. He's going to talk about bindings and keys. Oh,
And so that's my pet peeve. If there was one thing that I could do for my own game experience, like
Yes,
other than like
please.
the in-game elements, it would be completely control bindings. Currently we rely on device order for some things, and so
I bet.
literally you need to have.
but now keep in mind, my setup is a mobile setup that I have to be able to take to Bar Citizens and Citizencon. See you guys there, hopefully soon.
Like a kind of almost a common order for the devices on your machine. Sharing these profiles is very difficult. Being able to bind onto multiple devices, to really benefit from that. Being able to bind on multiple, like the same action on multiple devices, for me is super key, right? So that would be my absolute personal thing, quality of life to solve, would be device handling in general.
And you're announcing you've created a hero strike team for this.
Yes.
I wish I could just do that, but it'd be cool,
So that's not something coming soon.
Well, there is work being done on the control systems, right? But not that I could say it's coming soon to Star Citizen.
It has to be soon-ish, because what about Squadron
There's a lot
40
of work
fucking 2? Are we just gonna have this exact system for that, for a mass market release? They got 10 months.
And while you're at,
I guess whether or not we get access to it. It's one thing to have it in Squadron 42, as a lot of systems apparently are. It's another if it makes it to the Star Citizen PU.
it'd be nice if it stored them and saved them.
Exactly.
Having a system for actually configuring that made sense and whatever, that's all great and whatever.
And-
but if I got to redo it every patch,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know, he knows.
Saving them, cloud save across machines would be great, right?
Cloud saves.
Yeah, exactly.
talk dirty to me, Bennoit.
Don't talk dirty to me, Bennoit. Yeah.
I mean, it's the kind of thing where, like,
Not everybody has VR, and we got that, Space Asteroid. In fact, that's like less people have VR than flight sims. You think? I know some data points.
I do maintain a couple of rigs at CIG, and people are always changing bindings. But the problem is, I can't reapply my bindings because it's not the system anyway.
So there are sim pits in the office. There's sim pits in just about every office at this point, aren't there?
Yes.
Yeah. And Bennoit is as if he didn't have enough to do. It's his little pet project. He's intricately involved in them. It's every time I come by and he's at a sim pit, I'm like, you have more important things to do. He's like, And it's always like, somebody change my bindings. Sorry, Pete. I needed the emphasis on it. It's just the number of times I've walked past this man who it's just like, so, yes.
I mean, it's because Yogi and I always are fighting against what the best binding is. You know? Mine is clearly better, but, you know. So we've decided that at some point we'll just fix the binding system so that we don't have to argue. Just load the one you want.
And you had a second one.
So my second one for inside the game is that I've always found in general, like, you know, like mission chains is a thing that I feel our gameplay is always one-dimensional, right? Like you do a thing, you finish it. Missions, so I know because I know of things, right? I know we're working on an updated mission system.
You're talking about the limitations of the existing mission system. You're not talking
limitations.
about the quality of the work of the people that are working on these things.
Yeah.
You're talking about the tools that they have to work with.
The system around it doesn't allow us to do these massive quest chains, right? And I think that for me would be a huge quality of life because you could go onto a long adventure that takes you across multiple things. And so
Elliot Maltby was about to be on the corner of the building.
I know,
with
he's
a high-powered
calling me
rifle.
right now.
You know, you're talking about the tools that our mission
To enable
is
these
available.
guys. Exactly. So I know we are working on an updated way to make missions that is a lot more scalable.
Just look at the way
For
that
me,
Jarrett
that's
looks
like
at
a big
you.
quality of life because I feel you can go on a longer adventure
And
I
stare
think that's
deep
a
into
big
your
quality of
soul.
life overall.
Okay. I think that's. I know that's one that a lot of people would comment on. I mean, what they're doing within the tool set that they've had for so long.
Yeah.
I think we should talk about a little bit of why that. Well, maybe not why,
Sure.
but we can acknowledge. We can acknowledge that the tool set that was originally developed was not robust enough. It was not in line with the directions of a proper MMO.
Right.
It's no. I'm trying to decide how candid I want to be here and whatnot. It's a mission system. It's a mission system that can't give you a reward for doing something. Like we built the first version of the mission system where you do a thing, you achieve a goal,
You get paid.
and we can't hand you a thing.
Right.
In your and that it's. I'll just use that simple example as a coloring of the limitations of the existing mission system. For however that was built and why that was built and who that was built and everything, we've made changes internally to fix it. We've made changes internally to adjust it, to replace it. It's currently underway. What they've managed to do with the limitations has been stellar. I was just seeing stats about the event that's on right now. The event that's on right now, built with the existing system, built with the limitations, has our highest concurrency in the last 2 years outside of an Invictus or an IAE. So it's like they're doing tremendous work. Yes. They're doing tremendous work with the tools that they have.
Yes.
We've got to unlock those tools.
That's exactly right.
We've got to unlock
exactly,
tools for them.
That's for me. That's the quality of life update.
Because if they can do this with that, imagine what they could do if they could actually chain these things together and segment them off and have one continue after another. And
So mission refactor.
Exactly.
Yes.
And tie into reputation, economy, so that it actually is one big loop. Right. Cool.
Now that I've saved your life from Elliot Maltby killing you. Let's talk about some features currently in development.
Sure.
Crafting.
Yay.
Tech preview just happened recently. How's that going?
Good, actually. I mean, I don't want to say surprisingly good because the team did amazing work on it, but it's been going super well. I mean, there's a lot of work left, right? But I think that we got what we needed from the tech preview, and it wasn't a complete meltdown, which is always a good thing. But the team is working really hard to try to hit potentially a patch soon with crafting, which I really believe that crafting is such a big step for Star Citizen as a whole. It's just it will be a different game with the crafting system in place. And
Yeah,
so,
we'll actually be doing stuff without
the work that
missions.
those teams are doing right now to bring this to life.
I
is
want to make a
incredible.
thing. I just go out and
I think
make
that
it.
we're leveraging the technology that
Farm
we
the
have
stuff to get it,
be
build
able
it.
to create runtime items with different, properties and things like that. And so far, the first tech preview has been surprisingly solid and a success.
I think I have
And so
access
now
to it. It's
we're
an
writing
Evo
with
patch.
Telltale
I
to
should
get
have
continues
access to it, but
try to see
been busy.
for a launch window for crafting.
And you
I should
can't
check
have
it out,
crafting
see how it
without the
works in
inventory
VR.
rework.
Correct. That's right.
And that we I rarely ask a question I don't know the answer to already. The inventory rework is in the same tech preview, right?
Yeah, base building
I don't
has to
think
be
it
first,
was.
or
I don't think it
crafting
If you
first,
can't-
then you get base
so you
building.
can't have crafting without the inventory rework, but the tech preview for crafting doesn't have. the
Technically, you can. They can be.
inventory? It would just be really bad.
Exactly. It's more from a game design point of
Okay.
view.
Inventory
But
rework and UI
the inventory
rework.
work is going really well. I mean, some of the people have been reposting screens recently on the original concept, right? That was shown. I mean, it's starting to look like that, so that's really good.
Oh,
When
good.
does that go into tech preview?
We're hoping.
Yeah, when do
very
we get
soon,
that?
Because like at this point, every version that I've seen is fully functional, and so we just really want to solve one thing. This is one, and you say quality of life. Like if I have a third one to add to my list, right? The speed of rendering of icons in the inventory, right? And so like right now, you open your inventory and there's always a moment where it's rendering RTT, like the render to texture icons for each of those. Now, in case you don't know, this is a full 3D scene that gets rendered flat right there. Like we have versions of this in previous
What?
concepts where it's full 3D. It's super nice, but
Takes forever to load.
the user experience is not great, right? And no
I can
matter
see
the
that in
amount of work
VR.
we're going to put on the UI and the functionality of inventory, the speed of the UI
Past
is
2 months? No.
really a
It's
thing
fucking
that
end of the
we need to
year,
improve.
beginning
And
of the
that's
year.
part that
Never
we're
gets
still
improved during
iterating
then.
on. Now we've done massive.
They put out the
improvements, but
biggest
there's still-
content patch, go home for holidays, and then
we need to
finally
dial
fix
that
it in March.
because that's the part we really want to solve.
But you feel good about it.
I feel good about it. Yeah, absolutely.
You feel good enough to say 4.7 in March?
I think so.
Don't put the camera when he says that, you gotta put the camera on him. No, you look at the camera, you say inventory.
I think inventory is going to be in 4.7. I think so.
Okay.
You're going to put the small text after this, right?
The small
This is live, baby. No small text. And so
No,
if
give us
inventory
the rework,
is 4.7,
please.
I'm not going to push you on crafting. It's a super complicated thing or whatever. But
Yeah, crafting
And the
in
teams are working
August,
really
base
hard
building
for
in
that launch,
December.
if they can make it.
Get the Squadron 42
that
release
launch
to be the focus of the end of the
Pushing really hard for
year.
that launch window.
Get us
you're pushing,
inventory and crafting now.
you're pushing really hard to get crafting in 4.7
Yes.
in March.
Oh, crafting now.
No promises.
No, pushing hard is fair. Pushing hard is fair, and it's in line with what I've seen.
Yeah.
I've seen. So I won't correct you on that or whatever.
Now we don't know
you're
what
being-
surprises are ahead, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
So keep tech previewing.
keep tech previewing, exactly.
Yep. And for your part, keep logging into the tech previews and keep testing.
Yes.
I cannot stress this enough. The more involved folks are in those things, the more likely we are to be able to deliver them.
And the
in
feedback
working.
is really key. Yeah.
Most of the feedback's okay. Some of it's trash, to be completely honest. Small amount of it. It's just what? Hey,
It is what it is.
hey. Canada goes both ways. How's instancing going?
Yeah.
Very good, actually. We actually had a summit this week about instancing,
Ooh.
about getting all of the levels set up to support it. At this point, so maybe I can do a quick recap on what we've discussed in instancing before. So we talked about server meshing, right? So
I sorted for like
instancing
3
is
hours the other
basically
day on
an
stream.
additional system on top of server meshing, which allows us to take an area of space and give it to a server in the mesh to manage, right? Doesn't matter which one. The geographical, if I want, the spatial position of this thing doesn't matter, right? So for example, when you go to your hangar right now, that is an instance, right? So what we're doing is we're taking this system that manages and we're making a true instance manager with it. So we currently have the backend service completed for this. And so what that provides is, we can take an area of space, and give it to a server in the mesh to manage, right? So what we're doing is we're taking this system that manages and we're making a true instance manager with it. So we currently have the backend service completed for this. And so what that provides is, we the mechanism for creating an instance that you that is associated with you or your party, and having rules for how many this instance is made for how many players, enforcing player caps and party caps for that instance,
So like
managing
dungeons.
the life cycle of the instance. So hey, we want go back to my WoW days. Maybe that's dated now, but like your Molten Core instance lives for 10 days, right? So the instance manager is in charge of doing that. So that system's in place now. And so the teams are currently working at how the entrance to the instance is going to work, right? So, well, we know how it's going to work, but like how it ties into level. So level designers put in, an entranceway.
Right.
At what point are you crossing the boundary? What brings you to the instance? What brings you out? Transport is a requirement for instancing. So it just ties into all the discussion we just had. Like transit cannot bring you to an instance, but transport can.
Okay.
So basically we want to power that up there. So you can imagine an area of space that you walk into through a SAS or an elevator or a transit train. And when you come out, you're in the instance, but you don't even see...
You never see the loading screen.
demarcations. Exactly. Now you're inside the instance, you play inside the instance, you can gather items, inventories, whatever, boss fights, etc. And then you can exit through another transit link, and that's it, you're back in the world.
So if we do this right, you should never be aware that you're doing it. We might have to put some kind of indicator on there because of like raid locks or whatever. We talked about municipal works, and like this. So there might have to be some UI stuff that to tell you to.
Yeah, some screens will show you like, oh, you can't enter this because
But from an experience, we're not. It's there's no load screen. There's no.
Nice.
Hold on, please wait. You're transferring you to. Whatever.
Yeah, there's no portal that you walk into that's visible with a load screen after it.
The world around you is going to melt away, and you will be in a section of the universe that is dedicated entirely to you and your party.
Exactly.
Nice.
To play it, right? And then, we're also talking about, at the moment, how the instance manager responds to the mission system, because we might want to be able to change what level you're going into when you pass the threshold or things like that. And so, or the access rights, right? So if you think back, man, I keep going back to WoW. This sucks, but whatever.
No, I do too.
Good old WoW days, you need.
Like, what else? Like, you might not like it, but this is what peak MMO performance looks like. Nobody's comparing shit to fucking Guild Wars or Final Fantasy, despite them being awesome games in their own right. Everybody compares every design to fucking WoW.
To do lower Blackrock Spire, at some point someone has a key. That's the requirement that.
Oh, don't get me started on Blackrock Depths, man. But yeah, get your LBRS run so that you could fucking maybe get a upper Blackrock Spire run. Get the beast. My buddy, the only person who could fucking skin the hide of the beast, right? He skins it, it drops the hide, right? And he fucking ninjas it. Gets kicked from the party. The whole fucking server, like, infamous. It's like, no, I don't think anybody gonna get to roll on this. I'm just gonna take it. And he ninja'd the hide of the beast.
Upper Blackrock Spire. Yeah. Well, we're thinking about mechanics in that vein that allow the mission system to lock or unlock or the access rights to an instance. And so all of this is currently being managed, but it's going really well. Most of the networking capabilities that we needed.
Give me a key ring if we're doing that too. If we're talking about WoW and designs, give me a key ring. It took them a while for them to add the key ring.
Have been added already. So one of them is that currently when you go to your instance, the way the server actually tracks that is we put a flag on your character that enables you to stream in your hangar and actually view your hangar when you go there. And we remove that flag when you leave it or when you go elsewhere when the hangar is removed. And so in the code up to now, we only had the ability for a single one of those on your character. So we can only give you access to one instance. But we need to be able to give you access to multiple instances, because we might have areas of transit that cross like one instance to another instance, things like that. We're going a bit deep with this, but at the moment those mechanics are ready, so the networking bit is done. So now we're really about crafting the first experience that we want to do with instancing.
And the first instance content will be Siege of Orison. We announced that.
Redux.
Cease Origin Redux. Ooh, c'est en France.
Yeah.
Right. That's scheduled to come online. We talked about it during Citizencon Direct. That's one of the content drops that are scheduled for this year.
Yeah.
Basically everything you should, we've been talking more about a schedule than I probably intended at the beginning of this thing. But everything you saw
talk about stuff.
Sorry, everything that you saw at Citizencon Direct last year is scheduled for 2026.
Yep.
So, and we announced at the beginning of the year with the first ISC that we've now moved to a bi-monthly. That's once every 2 months for those who like homonyms. I'm not above recycling a joke. Content thing. So if you know, the first one was in January. We've already stated the second one's in March. The third one will be in May. There's always a patch in May for very important reasons. So forth and so forth.
Siege of Orison is going to be sick.
When you look at the content for Citizencon Direct, you can start to reverse engineer where things go. I'm not going to tell you. I'm saying you've got the tools. You've got the tools. You can pretty much kind of gather where everything is going to be. And I'd like to see your schedules. And that's just content. That's just the content stuff, because that's really what we talked about at Citizen.
I can tell you, from being with the team this week, working on instancing, everybody's like super stoked. Like it's like the energy is really high on like, oh man, how you enter it, how you exit it, what gameplay is going to be in it. There's also a big piece of this, which is like some designers, in this case, can design an experience that is repeatable. Most of the content we've produced this year was, there's a PvE experience for it, but it's fundamentally in a PvP zone. So that is giving them those tools to make something that's fun and repeatable as an experience. And
we like that.
The energy is really
repeatable, doable, over and over.
Squadron 42, whatever. I ain't talking about Squadron 42. I made one very plain-spoken, reasonable comment about Squadron 42 the last time we got together, and it got press articles. So I ain't saying nothing. I'm talking about Star Citizen. Star Citizen. Star Citizen.
Where we at?
I want to inject something.
Inject?
I want to inject something.
Okay, let's go.
Something we haven't talked about. It came from the chat. It came from the chat. Regional servers.
Yeah.
Regional servers. We have never had a conversation
about regions
in any way, shape, or form about regional servers. It was there in the chat and whatnot. I think I'm going to put you on the spot here.
What are they asking?
It just says regional servers when. Just what can we do to help the people who play in the various regions of the world have a better experience? Is that the answer? I guess what I'm asking is regional servers the answer, or are we going towards something else different that I've literally never asked you about?
Well, I don't know in this case if they're asking for what I think they are, but let's talk about regions.
Okay.
So we already have regions, right? So when you play the game, you can pick one of the global availability regions.
It's one of 4 regions that will definitely easily place you into the nearest node with low latency. What? There's different parts of the world? More than 4? I don't believe that. Put them in 4.
That we service. So obviously the US, North America is one. The Europe is one. We have East Asia, Australia, I forget the other ones. I think we have another one. So typically we look at user data, right? And if an area reaches critical mass, right, at some point,
we got regions at home.
Then it's worth it to deploy shards there. So and have shards hosted in that region. So we do it like between US and EU. Obviously they share our common backend. So your inventory system is hosted in one central area, but then the actual game servers you're playing on for latency reasons is going to be closer to your area right now. We are revisiting our region kind of distribution for
it wasn't
a couple
on fiber.
Like we've done some pretty long.
This guy who had to fucking downgrade just so Twitch would work. You're welcome, assholes, getting to watch this.
Large, without naming any details here, but we're in the process of doing some pretty large migrations. In how we host the game. So there's, even if it's a bit transparent, there is a lot of changes happening there. And so we are revisiting our region map kind of at the moment. But typically the way that we've done this is we look at player data, and if we reach critical mass in an area, then it's worth it to start deploying some shards there.
Congrats.
But it needs to be more than
It got
one,
worse.
right? Because deploying one shard in one area is problematic because, there are cases where a shard goes into trouble for some reason, and before a hotfix actually deploy, that shard is no longer usable. So we need to have, it needs a
proper
critical
cluster,
mass to be able to go there. Yeah, exactly, a proper cluster size to be able to get there.
And the short version of that is you're currently undergoing conversations about where.
Yeah, we're looking at that because we've done some changes, so we have access to more regions than we used to. So we're looking at that, but I can't promise any changes. Again, it's completely based on player using the service.
So during the key bindings conversation, every once in a while I'll check Teams just to see if I still have a job during the shows. Which is another joke I get accused of making quite often and repeatedly, but it isn't a joke. I really do scroll and check. Jeffrey Prees, I had an R there. Bearded
CIG?
Didn't mean to add a.
What did Bearded CIG say?
He sent me a Jira for key bindings. Exporting custom key binds to XML doesn't export all settings.
2013 or what?
But he's just sending me Jiras now. I don't know what you think I'm going to do with this, Bearded, but thank you. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Bearded.
Thanks, Bearded. God, I haven't talked to Jeff in a while.
That's actually a guy we should talk about if we were going to reevaluate regions. Maybe you get him on the show next.
You want to talk about Jeff? Let's talk about Jeff. He can't do anything about it. We know he's watching.
Yeah, that's right.
So what do you think he's hiding behind that beard?
I don't know.
Candy.
We're in the final stretch. We're in the final stretch. We only have a handful of topics.
He does have a big beard. That's not a joke. He's not called Bearded for anything. VR. VR kind of came out of. I mean, it's one of those things we've been talking about. We talk about it here.
Here we are. Virtual reality. Finally. An hour and a half into it. All right. So this is what you guys all wanted to see. Keybind rework, and for the love of God, don't go deleting critical keybinds. I hope we just get the ability to have more than one keybind. Like, a second set of keybinds. So that we can have an alternate key. Yeah, he said BR, I thought Battle Royale, Battle Rifle. I guess we did get the P8.
There.
All right, VR, here we go.
Let's be real. We've talked about a lot of things over the years. We
used to have VR in 2014.
Yes.
I say a bit air quotes. Air quotes.
That's like saying I'm a baseball player because I played a couple of Little League games.
It worked in the hanger module. Yeah.
Let's look out for that.
A long time ago.
I
think it was Oculus Dev Kit 1.
Yeah.
Is what was supported at the time.
Yes.
Anyway.
And I used it for 45 minutes and ended up in the fetal position for the next 3 hours.
The DK1. Wow. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Long time.
VR is not for me. I want to preface this by saying VR is not for me. But it's for a lot of people.
That's a shame.
For a lot of people. And at the end of last year, surprise, a not a fully blown or fully cooked, fully developed feature like we would normally refer to them. Some how do we refer to it? An experimental
there you go.
Feature.
Not tier 0.
VR. Yeah. Where did this come from? What's going on? And do it without saying the word Santa Sylvan.
No, sure. Yeah. Well,
do it without saying Sylvan's name, lest we summon his presence.
There are a lot of developers at CIG that really like immersive experience and work, right? And so there's a contingent of developers, also one specific one that have been really trying to get the Star Engine to properly support VR. And so, as an experiment and to build that, these guys and I'm gonna Sylvan in specific has been really pushing hard to try to get Star Engine to work in VR. Experimented with multiple different approaches over the last couple of months. Settled on the OpenXR approach, and was actually able through his own passion and then support from his other colleagues, right, to get stuff fixed so that we could support VR in specific cases. And so that's how we decided at some point, hey, you know what, like this is actually pretty cool, let's release it, right? Like we have a unique chance at CIG to be able to work on a custom engine and working on custom technology. And so encouraging that effort, we decided to release an experimental mode to see, hey, let's see if people like it. And I mean, the response has been pretty impressive overall.
Oh, has it?
I think that it's the results that we're able to get in VR are a testament to some of the decisions over the years that were taken and how the game has been made. And so
it's basically built ground up foundation wise to be ready for VR when they pulled the trigger on it. Everything about physicalized everything, about way the camera rigging is from the eyes and not from the gun. The gun shoots bullets, it doesn't shoot out of your chest. All of this, the fucking moving from third person to first person, back and like all of it. Someone somewhere at all points in times was like, needs to be able to do VR stuff. Now, some things can't, but most things can.
So there's a lot of little things that just shine when you now put the VR headset on.
Yes.
That, maybe if you're playing just on a PC, you're not going to appreciate as much. But
so many things you never notice or would care to ever notice.
I call Chris Roberts here, but Chris, always insisted on, taking the difficult approaches to build certain features, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things that you're
really
like,
interested.
oh, we could have done simpler on this one. Oh, but we did the hard road and we actually delivered it. And so now when you put the VR headset on, well, you've got reverse IK in the seat, right? And it's like, and it's the kind of thing that now all these decisions have
what?
right? And it's like, and it's it. And so now when you put the VR headset on, well, you've got reverse IK in the seat, right? And
reverse IK in the seat, inverse kinetics, I guess.
It's like, and it's the kind of thing that now all these decisions have paid off in this VR.
It's a pain in the ass in 2017.
Yeah.
When poor Evo was on it, and now so many years later, it's like, oh,
yeah,
that part was plug and play because of it.
Yeah, and I mean, even internally, the arrival of VR, even before the experimental mode was shipped, was, tremendous. Like I spent, a couple of hours here around our VR rigs next to my sim rigs with the ship team going like, oh, I want to see my ship in VR. Let's go. And then, because designing for VR is a bit different. Like sense of space changes and whatever. So that's really truly an experimental mode that we've been pushing. Obviously, there's a lot more people around Sylvain to help him out and get this there.
He's got a team.
I think that this is a testament to kind of the technical.
And also using VR to design as well. I think that's going to be the biggest. Like the ship team using VR is going to be incredible.
Framework that we have at CIG that allows that kind of effort to not go unnoticed and kind of show up in the game.
Chat's currently arguing about whether VR is a low priority or high priority and stuff like this.
The priority at this point doesn't matter because
it's there.
It's an experimental mode.
Yep.
It's a bit like eye tracking. It's a bit like all of these side projects, right? Like head tracking, eye tracking.
It's not an initiative on the same scale as the inventory rework or as crafting.
Exactly.
It's not a full initiative. It has not taken a priority over something else.
Exactly.
Well, Lord forbid somebody working their free time to give us something kind of fun and nice, right? Like everybody's complaining about how it's going to take away developer resources and I don't have VR. Why should they blah, blah, blah. And they do this and not my thing. And I'm just happy that we get it before 1.0. I'll be making that absolutely clear. But at the same time, yeah. What if they just did it in their free time? Well, you still bitching then? Yeah.
I've only got a couple more questions for you, and they're kind of the big ones. And yes, people, it's about the thing that you want us to talk about. We're saving it for the end. I've been doing this for a while. I want to take a few questions from the chat right now before we get to it because we're actually doing okay on time here.
All right.
Is the inventory rework, is it just UI, or will it actually apply any additional functionality to stacking and unstacking and stuff like that?
And
there's additional functionality.
Deleting all.
Obviously, the big of the groundwork was the UI, usability. But if you look at the mock-ups, right, you also see equipment. So it's not just inventory; it's actually equipment plus assignment on your character, so the paper doll approach. There's also some other elements like
Can it
proximity
please not be a
inventories that are
fucking?
part of it.
Can it please not be a fucking list and a grid at the same time? Can it be just a functional grid or a list
That, which are
and not both, which is literally the worst of the two combined? The current inventory system is such garbage. You lift up an item, every single thing shifts because it's a list. Also, it's a grid. So the grid functionality sucks. The list functionality sucks.
Hello there.
It's horrible.
pretty large functionality wise, and I think will have an impact. So it's not just UI. There's a lot more client architecture also. The way the UI pulls the data, caches the data, and displays it.
More Twitch drops. There will be more Twitch drops this year.
Nice.
Already in that. Yes to medical. Why didn't Levski mold situation have us rescuing NPCs with medical ships? We'll talk about that in 2 weeks when we've got Elliot and Torsten on the show here. We'll talk about that whole event and stuff. So we'll save that question for them so they can speak about their own work. When Nix won this year.
Yeah.
That's something that got me in trouble. One thing I hope, and I got articles. CRG spokesperson says he hopes this will be whatever. I'm like, oh yeah. Yes. Let's see. There's one more. There was one more. I can't find it. There was one more question I want to sneak in before the questions that are already on here. All right. This section is called Final Hot Seat Stuff.
Oh boy.
I just read Final Hot Stuff.
You missed a word. Things that are happening in the game today. Economy exploits. And if you're watching the show and you're wondering why I'm talking about economy exploits, it's because I'm going to get to the next question that you've got, the question you've had the whole time. So,
Yeah.
Wipe.
let's talk about the economy
I'll
exploits.
wipe my own ass.
What's happening?
There are exploits.
Be better.
Be better.
Well, so in terms of the economy in general, right? There's a couple. I think we're up to 7 or 8 right now. So first of all, we have a strike team on this at the moment, right? Looking at all these different things. There's a couple of ways in which there's been potentially duping, ways to earn rewards it's not supposed to have.
I think we're beyond potentially.
No. Well, yeah.
Okay, fair.
And so we're looking at all these exploit vectors, right, to fix them. Obviously, that needs to be prioritized. The big conversation that was spawned from that is like, we're a game in development, but we're also delivering a live service, right? And so we don't have a framework for this. In that internally, we don't. When we get exploit reports, we don't necessarily automatically prioritize them. So the conversation that was spawned was like, okay, well, there are going to be exploits, right? Every game has a series of exploits for its entirety of its life, right? No game has no exploits. And so the question is more, how do you respond for it, right? And so historically, exploits have always taken a lower priority to ongoing development, right?
I'm going to jump in. You're 10 switching between past and present here. I want to be clear. You're talking about the past right now.
The past.
He's 10 switching a couple of times. It makes it sound like he's talking about today.
No.
It's like this. We're talking about the past, guys.
So in the past, right, exploits would fall. There'd be bugs like any other, right? Depending on the severity, sometimes they got escalated, but we didn't have a process for this. So now the conversation is about, when we do get an exploit report, how do we deal with it? Like, how do we escalate it? How do we respond to it? How do we deal with it, right? And so for the current ongoing exploits that we know about that have a damaging effect on the economy, currently we're dealing with them the same way we've dealt with the other hero strike teams. And so we're looking at each one of them and confirming the fixes, right? Because sometimes, you fix an exploit, there's a second vector right away. So those are complicated fixes sometimes. So we're dealing with these things right away. But the big thing that also this puts in light is that even a minor exploit at the moment has a very large effect on the economy, because there are many limits that are not in place. And so at the moment, we're also looking at overall economy design and limits around, selling, inventory capacity, exchange limits, ongoing active tracking of player trades and or large purchases, things like that. Now we want to make clear that we want the economy to be fun and movable, but we also need some protectionism behind it. And so that's what we're looking at the moment. Now I don't have all the solutions. I didn't write them down or show them out, but this is the spirit that we're in at the moment on these economy exploits.
So they're talking about it.
You're being very diplomatic about something. I want to point out what some of the struggle with talking about this.
Yeah.
RMT.
We can't
Tell you how we're going to fix it.
We can't tell you we can't tell people what we're doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because every single
word that they give away about their plans is, entire meetings and developments for industries that exist because of these exploits. I'll put it that way.
Let's back this up a bit. So an exploit exists. Whatever timeline you want, we'll just make it simple. We'll make it real simple and do days for the point of conversation here. Exploit exists on day 0. On day 1, it comes to our attention. By day 2, we figured out.
You have to pay those,
we figured out what's causing it. We cause it. On day 3, we could fix it potentially, depending on the severity length. But we don't automatically do that, right? Because there's stuff to be learned by leaving it. In certain cases, we find more information out about who's doing it. We find where it's coming from. About other vectors, we found like any bug. Okay, we found this cause, but sometimes there's 5 other causes for every bug. So you find this cause of an exploit, but maybe there's 4 other causes for that same exploit. And if we patch this one up right now, we may hide the other ones and we won't discover them for much, much later. And so like this. There's this incredible dance that I get to sit here and watch. Sure. I get to sit here and watch you guys do. Occasionally, I speak up with a thing, and you're very kind to humor me here and there from time to time. But I get to watch you and the player experience team and your programmers and everybody involved do this amazing dance of finding these things and researching these things and working out how they happen. And we can't. It's one of those things, we come here on a show and I want to talk about it. And we were talking about this last night, but we can't go through all the methodologies. No. We can't discuss all the solutions, because then knowledge is power. And if they know what we're doing, then they can run around it. It's this incredible dance that is frustrating, and it can often look like we're sitting on our hands doing absolutely nothing.
So we have this 5-minute spiel where we say that we can't say what we're doing.
Frustrating side effect of the proper way to do this.
Yeah, well, every time it touches security, anti-cheat, economy, exploits, it falls in that. Yeah. It's going to fall into that area where we can't be as transparent as we'd like to be. And
they're saying it in chat now, and they're not wrong. Like cheats and exploits have sunk so many games. Yeah, we have to get a hold on them. We have to get a handle on them. We have to fix them and whatnot. And again, but it's this dance. It can't always be right away.
Correct.
It can't. At least that's one of the things that Alpha affords us. We take the time to make sure that we do it right. Take the time to make sure we research. Take the time that we're actually finding all the bad actors and blah blah blah. It's just at the same time, it's annoying because you want to go to Reddit, you want to go to Spectrum, you want to go to Twitter or whatnot, and just scream, "We're on it, we're doing it," whatever. But you can't tip your hat anything. You can't. It's because every.
Well, I put my eyes emoji sometimes on stuff on Spectrum, just
you can't say we're actively chasing this one, because then the people who are using it scatter and we don't find them. It's like this.
Exactly.
So it's one of the hardest aspects of game development communication, especially for a project like us that prides itself on being as open as we are. People will be like, open development, I can't believe you're not telling us. That doesn't mean it's open. I'm like, open development means we're more open than any other company in the history of the medium. It doesn't mean we share every single thing, every single moment, the minute it comes out. I do sometimes, and I get in trouble. But it's really difficult.
It's a difficult balancing act for sure.
It's terrible because there's been so many moments when I want to go out and scream, "We got this! We're on it! We're doing this! It's fixed!" But we just can't. You can't because it makes it harder. It makes it harder to do.
Well, yeah, and you're gonna miss things. That's the main thing.
But
you know, hey, can we flip seats for a second? Because you know, you just grilled me for what? How long have we been going for now?
almost 2 hours.
Yeah. I have one question that I want to switch seats for. You ready for it?
You want to ask me a question?
I want to ask you a question. I want to grill you on one, at least one.
I can see you looking at your laptop like you've got notes. All right. What do you?
I have my note question right here.
What do you have for me, Bennoit?
So, is the battle cruiser actually happening? Is that thing actually going?
Whiplash. Just whiplash. What does that have to do with anything?
You know. It's whiplash. Let's go.
Let me see if I'm being yelled at already.
Yeah, check this out. Do 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 do.
I am not.
What are you doing, Jared?
I am not actively being yelled at.
Good.
Hello there.
Yes, the battle cruiser is coming.
Yes.
It's a tried and true manufacturer.
Drake.
It's not one of these new hotness manufacturers. It's one of the older manufacturers of verse. And it's sure. And I did say this last time, so this is not new information. The manufacturer thing is new information, but our big giant military combat themed event that we do every year around May is probably a pretty good time to expect it. And
it's either like Aegis or Drake
and
battle.
as we said before, it is our intention to make it the last concept we do. We made it through 2025 without a concept, without a single concept promotion. We do not have a single concept promotion scheduled for 2026. Other than this battlecruiser, we don't have a single concept promotion scheduled for 2027. This will be the last one. It's an old Kickstarter thing.
Let's say it's the last list of the Kickstarters. Yeah,
it's happening. It's happening. We're going forward. I'm not going to tell you anything more about it now.
I was about to say, it's probably Aegis, Anvil, or Drake. Everybody wants it to be Drake, but I think with the Kraken and the Ironclad, it's going to have to be Aegis.
Get your one out.
Is it big?
It's very big. It's very, very, very big.
It's not Drake then.
That's all I got.
That's all I'm going to say. Okay. So just sneak it right in there. Just piece of shit.
You piece of shit.
That's my one for the show. All right, then fine. Wipe.
Bengal Cruiser.
We were doing so good.
Wipe. I held them off. Wipe.
Right. So, okay.
Wipe.
We're not planning a wipe. We're planning.
Good night, everybody.
We're planning.
Yeah. No wipe. All right, goodbye.
We're looking at targeted
Hello there.
actions.
Ooh.
Right? But we're not looking at a wipe for the moment.
Targeted actions on
we want
suspicious
to keep on
users.
rolling. First of all, there's a lot of some of the work we've discussed. Obviously, I can't share the details of what we're doing, but that needs to be completed. So for now, we're not intending a full blanket wipe at all.
No, this goes back to what we were saying before about the biggest quality of life. Like all this work going in to long-term persistence and to item recovery V1 and stuff. It's about and the freight elevator. It's about making sure you keep your stuff.
Yeah.
Making sure you keep your stuff. Making sure you keep your stuff. Making sure you keep your stuff. So we've got tools. We've got logs. We've got
A lot of logs.
we got a lot of logs. We got a lot of
logs.
information. A lot of information. So it is our intention to do a targeted correction
Correct.
to those areas that
Are
need it,
problematic. Or that need it.
and preserve as much of the gotten gains of the everyday
Hello there.
Star Citizen as possible.
Exactly.
So no blanket wipe.
That's right.
Yay.
Okay.
That's nice. Hopefully the targeting is
We've
good.
answered that. That's done.
Because I'll admit, somebody sent me a fucking billion credits. I didn't ask for it. Streamer problems. So yeah, now money isn't an issue for me in the PU. Wait, what did you say?
Okay.
Cool. So we've answered that. That's done.
Never done.
What else you got?
Just hit me with a bow cruiser. Oh, I got a message. Hold on. Where is that? I skipped at it. Was the battle cruiser mentioned in SCL just now planned? Lol.
Lol.
Planned by somebody.
Whoa.
And that finger is just, oh, now where's that finger going?
All right. No comments. No comments about the size other than it's big.
Cool.
It's big. It's just big and it's cool and it is so damn cool.
It's going to be like a $3,000 ship.
That's it. Oh,
Cool.
no.
Yeah.
One last question.
Yeah.
Tell me something we don't know about. Tell me something we should be excited about that we're not currently excited about. Give us something nobody's expecting.
That's hard. You're putting me on the spot now.
I'm putting you on the spot, mister. Is the battle cruiser coming?
Okay. Well, one thing we didn't talk about in detail that I could give background info on is Genesis
Okay.
and Nix One. Right?
Planetary tech?
So, I mean, we're obviously working on this. That's no surprise to anyone. But the one thing that I'm excited about is that we've kind of conjoined development on 3 separate things in order to ship the best Nix experience that we could offer, right? And so, obviously, Genesis is part of that, and the Planet Tech that's behind it. But also, the Starchitect work. And so, for those who don't know, Starchitect is a way for us to be smarter about building planets and the human populations that are on them. So, settlements, buildings, distro centers, LZs, name it, right? So, historically, we've placed that by hand. And so, Starchitect is a way for us to give designers control over the planetary scale of how these are distributed. And it's a fairly fundamental change to how the game is made. And the third one is what we call the population control / population manager. So currently you have AIs in the game, right, that are sometimes hand placed, sometimes dynamically spawned. We've talked about
spawn like a
gazillion
just hitting a
times.
spawn
Yeah, sometimes
button.
just millions of them.
Which is my biggest pet peeve, by the way. If you
Apologies
wanna,
to
that's my trigger
crackheads.
point. If you want to trigger me in a meeting, just tell me there's another overspawn issue. But anyway, so population management and control is a third component.
Population cull.
I'm excited about this because as we're working towards Nix One, we're aligning all those 3 things into one strike team to deliver that together. So I'm excited about that because those are like 3 major development pieces that Star Citizen needs to scale that we're bringing in together. So for pop control, instead of having all these either hand-placed or dynamically spawned AIs in key areas, that's a system that will basically manage the server capacity of AI agents to be able to distribute them at the right place, but also spawn the right AIs for the right jobs, manage the priority of these spawn requests, all that stuff. And so it's such a much more scalable system that will allow us to really like build up a dense universe than we've had before. So I'm excited about the fact that those 3 projects are part of the same kind of drive at the moment. That's the first thing I would say that you guys don't know about that we're going to bring together. The second one, I mean, there are some hints of this in the game already. So if, I know some of the techies look into the game client, try to find some stuff. I'm not going to go into more details about this, but you know, we talked about sim rigs. We talked about, you know, how the experience in the sim rig is. So VR is a great thing if you have a sim rig, right? Obviously,
I do.
having the headset on is such a more dense experience. We're also working at improving our peripheral support, so being able to feed information, non-damaging information to peripheral manufacturers, so be able to enable them to make custom Star Citizen experience for the sim rigs.
Hey.
And also we're looking at, we're currently in the process of looking at motion and motion platform support for the game. And so I think that's something we haven't talked about specifically, but I'm mega excited about it because
Opening up the API.
Opening up that.
I was about to say, that's API
opening
shit.
up basically the motion systems to be able to leverage that, you know. On
It's like the butt
key
kicker,
elements. So I think that's something that I'm super
hydraulics.
excited about because that's just another level.
There's that new Corsair keyboard that's got the Stream Deck built into it and
That's
stuff
cool.
like that, and like this.
Yep. I was looking at that the
Those
other
would
day.
be my
Okay.
two.
Anything for player facing for in game?
Something new.
Something. I know about something. It's we're treating this like it's a big thing. It's not. We just did the big thing, but
Yeah, I know, right? I was thinking about Neo.
Oh, yeah.
changes
Well,
to spawning.
Well, so we talked about spawn in the hangar, right? And so to build spawning hangar, we had to build a new workflow, right? To be able to determine, can we spawn you there? Is there a requirement for you spawning there, right? So the requirement in the case of spawn in hangar is your hangar spawned, right? That's also extended to ships, right? But what we're trying to achieve, now I'm not promising this anywhere, but is spawn in place. And so we're trying to extend that workflow for spawn in place so that, you know, you just log in the game and you spawn where you were. And so that's something that we're passionate about and we're trying to get in there. So
Yeah. Log in, log
in,
out,
bam on it.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Not a, you know, you have a bed in a ship. You haven't. You don't have a bed in a ship. You just wherever you are, get out,
Correct.
get back in, come back right there.
Yeah. Surface of a planet.
That would be great.
Spawn in place.
Yep.
As long as you can still spawn there. That's right.
Yep.
There's going to be rules and limitations, but we're looking into that. That is also a big change for the game to me.
Yes.
That's a huge, huge change.
Just
Cool. I'm happy you raised that up. I was going to forget about it.
I got you, baby. All right, and at that, we managed. It's 4:57. We're right there at the
Hey, right on time. Crazy.
What do they say at the end of Hot Ones? You know, tell everybody give everybody your socials. Tell everybody where they can find you. What do you do next?
I mean, I guess here in over many months.
We're here until the heat death of the universe.
That's right.
Benoit, thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you as always.
All right, that was good.
coming back. We're doing these about every 6 months. It's
Yeah.
what we agreed when we did this
Kind of
first
a
one
rendezvous
about a year
now,
ago.
right?
Yeah.
It's a good
And
rendezvous.
so we'll see you again sometime this summer.
Yeah,
Probably.
sure.
Yep.
Absolutely.
See what we've got change-wise
I just want to say, you know, it's
then.
this is our first SCL back. It's actually our first SCL since IAE. We did the all ships Q&A.
I was about to say, since
And then
IAE.
we didn't get to do a whole lot of SCLs last year because of a whole bunch of other changes that was going on, mostly in my life. We're gonna have a lot more SCLs this year. We got a group of like 4 in a row coming in like April, I think. Whatever. The chance to have somebody at your level and your involvement take the time out to come be here, answer quite literally any question I put you. You didn't beg off of anything. You didn't do this. So I spent the part giving the tech teams their props and the programmers their props and the strike team their props, and I want to sit here and give you your props. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you,
Far more than I
Bennoit.
can give Jens.
Beausejour.
Won't come on the show.
It's a rendezvous now. That's it.
I know.
No, I appreciate it.
I love the Jens. I adore.
I love coming here and chatting about Star Citizen. And if you ever meet me in a Bar Citizen, it's the same thing. So, you know, just do it live.
Thanks so much, guys. What is in the orange box? So that was at the beginning of the show on the Twitch version. It won't be on the YouTube version. But that's just toys. It has nothing to do with work. We were just nerding out a little bit at the beginning of the show.
I got a box.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We're back next week with a Behind the Ships special on the next spacecraft making its way to the Star Citizen persistent universe. John Cruz in there, and Ben Curtis is in there, and Torsten Lyman is in there, and some other people, because I'm not really good with names, whatever. The second I started calling out names, I knew it was a mistake. Chris Danks is in there. So, who? Batu's in this one? I filmed with Batu? He's great. Wow, they really run together. Sorry, everybody. But yeah, that's next week. An exciting new spaceship mon making its way to the persistent universe next week. In those little middle things, we talked about it in ISE. The big patches in January and March and May, things like this, and then these interesting little content drops in the middle. So we're going to add a new ship in the middle of a patch drop for the first time in the history of our project. See how that goes.
Let's do it.
Let's get it. There's a press article.
Ship drop that's not a patch drop.
So thanks for watching. I'm
Crazy-
Jared.
crazy
That's
times we
Bennoit.
live in.
You are the amazing Star Citizen community. What are you doing with the cameras? Oh my God. Seb.
I was about to say, they're going crazy.
I love you. See you later, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Well, wonderful, wonderful. That is Tech Talk with Bennoit Beausejour. Yeah, lots to think about there. We're gonna try to keep this short. I don't want to ramble on because you guys got plenty of other stuff to do. But yeah, we can't wait for instancing stuff, the VR editions, just all sorts of stuff on the horizon that look really, really cool and good. So yeah, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting, doing all the voodoo that you do down there. Trying to get to, I think we need like 3,700 subscribers. If we get to like 4,000, so that'd be great. You guys are awesome, and we'll check you next time. Stay safe, fly right. I'm Chachi Sanchez. Y'all have a good night. Oh yeah. And
seen a lot of strange stuff, but I've never seen anything to make me believe there's one all-powerful force controlling everything.
Cerveza cristal.